and it looks like things have changed up a little bit as they go down into turn one. Look at how Ross Lazarus gets a good start. We're on board with Musa. On his outside is Desiree Wilson, and you can see just how hard Musa goes into turn one, and that's still on cold tires. So you
on those motor cars and to be driving them flat out, and these are big V8s. You look at them; they're not like the modern car that's got a very low ground clearance. So there's a lot of aerodynamic features that the modern cars got that these haven't got.
So Scribanti out front, then Dino in third place with Lazarus all over the back of him. Put action through there. There's Mike Knight. You can see the guys starting to make their way through the field. That's Bergsma.
ISO in his Mustang, yeah.
And
Wilson.
Big crowd of people here at zwartkops for the International. On the inside, looking for a way through. Can he find it? Yes, he does. No answer there from Donald Duncan, unfortunately. He had to just give way as that Camaro snuck through. Watch out in the back. Who's in the favor of Gary Formato in the Daytona Coupe. See as they come through just in the background, picked up on the Nomad, also one of the sports cars involved in this one. It's a 1968 machine. Barry Shepherd at the wheel of that. And now, look at this, just line for grabs or anything like that, but nonetheless, it's every man and lady for himself out there. Short up the inside, can he sneak through? Great smooth driving. Speaking of smooth driving, that wasn't too smooth there, but managed to keep it on the track, that's for sure. The Demon Tweaks man is definitely having his fun and games as he did last year.
They use every inch of the track.
It's more, and here we go to the front end of the field, and Dutoy is now on to Scribanti.
That's Jonathan in the wheel. Took the first stint in that car.
Back marker is going to be a problem right through this race, Pete. It's 45 minutes. These guys are going to be out there.
That's part of the skill and the challenge of the event.
Looking back here from Jono's car. See Dino falling by the wayside, not able to quite stick with the pace of these guys at the front end. But as you said, it's a brand new car, and good to see that they're starting to develop one. He has a maneuver. Can he sneak through onto the back straight?
Jonathan's looking for a way around.
T70 Spyder versus Ford GT40.
That's contrary to team orders. He was meant just to pace the GT40 for the first stint, and then Big Brother would take over in the second stint and give chase. But I don't think he can accept the fact of lying second. Now here he comes.
Is that why you don't run radios on the cars?
No.
There'd be a massive argument between the two of them. No. That's the dart they're coming up on, and I think that's Martin Inga behind the wheel of that one. Sash is going to have his, there you go, his work cut out for him as they go flying past him and into what is going to be Execuline corner. Now these guys are flying. Look at that. There's a little D-type they're catching up, E-type I should say, catching up on. Good to see that
in the lead.
He got through. Good move there from Dutoy. I was about to say he's coming through. And now as they cross the line, also in amongst the back markers all the time. It's such a short circuit and almost 30 cars on the grid. You're going to have your work cut out for you here. You'll have a couple of corners free and then back into traffic again. So Franco, then Dino Scribanti, then it's still Lazarus in the background. That was the Marcus,
yeah. They were close all the way through. I mean, these cars are very evenly matched.
Well, the leader's in. Jonathan Dutoy gesticulating to his team that he's in. He's coming a bit early. There might have been a problem with that seatbelt, I believe. So the leader is now in, made his pit stop. We're 22 minutes down. We've got about, this is about the halfway mark, we have to say. Beginning to settle down. Things will start settling down once everybody's been into pit lane. But, of course, the racing doesn't stop. You've still got to find your way past your competitors and get through all the traffic out there. We'll see him a bit later in action.
Jan had a problem with that car. Jan is incredibly short. We didn't know how short he was, and he couldn't get his feet on the pedals half the time. We gave him pillows. We adjusted the seat. It didn't help.
Gonna put some blocks on those pedals, eh? Okay, so the front end battle is still Dutoy out front. Franco Scribanti, then Dino with later on. There's the Nomad. Spoke about Barry Shepherd a bit earlier on.
Don't say they're still close. There's Mark ahead now, but he's just ahead of Scribanti's GT40.
I think Franco's going to try and push it hard now in the second part of this race. Craig Short is starting to make his way through the field nicely too. He stepped up into the leaders. Dutoy and Franco. Back around is Shepherd. Then you've got the 144 machine there of Les McLeod.
The MGB.
Dino Scribanti sneaking on his inside. Nice to see they've done the sort of flip out on the paint jobs there for the two Scribanti boys. One orange. He's right on the tail. He's only in 6th place. And check where Ferdy van Niekerk has come out of nowhere and into contention and possibly going to spoil the day here for both Lindenberg and Lazarus. After 45 minutes of racing, well, nearly 45 minutes of racing, it's this close between the leaders. Dino going through there on Michael Knight in the British Racing Green Cobra.
That's a very interesting Cobra because that is the ex-Dave Purley Cobra that he cut his teeth in racing in the 60s in the UK.
So coming down to the line now, Goldwagen corner, and it is going to be the Detroits are going to win this out. Dinos Grabanti will hang on to second. Lazarus is going to take third place. Behind him is teammate Peter Lindenberg in the Daytona Coupe, and he's followed home very closely by the second of those Daytona Coupes, Ferdy Finico Jr. Shorter makes up the sixth place position, and it's all international. Campagna, Duncan, Milligan, and Musa, your top 10.
Jonathan, you started off the endurance race. How was the beginning?
Yeah, no, it was pretty good. I had a good start, and I thought I'd just stay behind Franco and sit there. And then I thought, no, I'm a little bit quicker. Let me see if I can get a bit of a gap. And I was always planning to run for 30 minutes, but after 15 minutes, my seatbelt came loose. And I thought, I've just put one car on the wall. I think I'd rather have a seatbelt that works properly. So I came in early for the stop.
They came in early. You had the longest stint in the end, but you managed to keep the lead going.
Yeah, I know. When I got in the car, it felt a little bit oversteery, and I was just trying to be consistent to see where Franco came out after his pit stop. And then I saw that we had a bit of a gap, so I could take it, fairly cool towards the end. But I mean, the car, I'm glad we didn't have to fight because the car is really oversteering and the brakes are very soft, so we made it.
The final category of racing today is the Executive Line Pre